Hello and welcome to Dorky TV. Those of you who watched my video about the ancient Greece shares may have noticed that I flew over to Calypso and gotten a mining bonus mission from the daily mission terminal. That was yesterday. I originally planned to complete that mission later that day. However, I spent my time working on the yesterday's video and then walked around the flat for an hour and a half or so to get some cardio done. You know how it is. I am type 2 diabetic. I need to move around a bit to keep myself at least reasonably healthy. Walks outside are preferable, but it was raining yesterday and the wind was quite mean as well. So I get my exercise any way I can. For example, today I keep running to the throne room like a madman every 5 minutes. I made a mistake of drinking a glass of milk on an empty stomach instead of eating something first. And yes, that was a joke. I do not consider the pebble dashes to be an acceptable replacement for exercise, at least not unless I am running back home from across the town. Anyway, the bonus version of the daily mining mission requires the player to mine up 25 pets of Listerium or crude oil. Both resources count for the mission at the same time. So this mission can usually be completed the fastest if you go to a place that has both of these resources. I started by visiting a place that has neither. I hoped to get some frigolite claims to move my stage 3 mining mission along a bit. I have been working on that mission for ages now. It is literally the slowest ore mining mission for me. Probably the only mission that ticks along slower than this even when I am trying to work on it specifically is the Typonolic Steam mission. However, that one does not bother me all that much. It is the frigolite mission that keeps the last tier of the mining missions out of my reach. That irks me to no end, because then I feel like I am missing out on rewards while I do my normal mining. Yesterday I felt like I should come to Calypso. I am not sure why, but her calling was too strong to ignore. I guess getting that bonus mission right after arrival was validation enough for me, but I really should not have followed that up by taking a level 5 amplifier out for a spin this morning. As most of you know, using mining amplifiers on a small budget is unwise. Or in my case, it is a straight up stupid thing to do, since I have been playing this game for a long time and already know how these sorts of endeavors end in 99% of cases. I guess I can use this video to give a little bit of advice to the newer players among you, if there are any watching. Entropia is quite different from most other video games in that doing stuff on your level is not always the best idea. It is mainly your budget that should decide what you do in game. That is, if you care about the results and do not want to lose money fast. Mining amplifiers in particular are quite dangerous in this regard. You can skill up enough for some fairly dangerous ones relatively quickly. I quite often see new players waste their money on amplifiers as soon as they reach the minimum professional requirements. Again, this does not necessarily matter if the only thing you are after is fun and you can afford it. However, most players I see do this are then quite unhappy and angry when they go through that one amplifier they could barely afford with their hard-earned pad, and they see the return after the mining run. It is not uncommon to lose up to 100 pad or even more on a single level 5 amplifier. You need to burn through a lot of those amplifiers to end up somewhat even, unless you are really lucky and hit a big one right at the start. Anyway, amplifiers require a rather large budget if you do not want to go broke before it evens out, and the markup can carry you over the remaining losses. 300 or 400 ped might seem like a lot of money to many people, but it is not even enough for a sustainable unamped mining with the regular finders most of the time. Perhaps it would be enough for mining with Rookie Finder. Otherwise, such low budget would only be enough if you luck out and start with a few very profitable runs, or plan to only do couple small runs a week and keep adding more funds over time to build a more proper budget. Of course, I am speaking of unamped mining here, rather than amped mining. Anyway, I have been yapping about that stuff for too long. I already forgot what were the other things I wanted to talk about at the start as I started writing my commentary for this video. In case you are wondering why I do my videos this way, I am obviously not a native English speaker, and I do get some brain farts from time to time. If I do not write stuff down first, it ends up being extremely boring and incoherent mess, and I forget to include a lot of stuff I wanted to say. On top of that, I do not want to end up repeating myself a bunch of times within the same video, which is something that would happen a lot whenever my brain got too slow to come up with new stuff to say fast enough to keep talking. Writing it all down first and then recording it is easier for me. I respect people who can just start recording with some basic idea of what they wanted to say and make an enjoyable video out of it without forgetting half the stuff they wanted to say along the way. Either way, let's get back to Entropia. By now I should be far enough into the recorded footage for you to notice that I have been changing locations throughout my mining run. There are two main reasons behind that. First is that I started the run with two goals in mind. I wanted to get some Frigulite claims and complete the daily mining bonus mission. Second reason is that if a place has bad hit rate, it is rarely a good idea to just stay there for the entire run. It is different if you are doing a really small 10 to 20 drops unamped run. Then you just drop them all and do your next run someplace else. I saw some people do their mining that way. However, if you are on a 50 or 100 drop run or larger, you have the wiggle room to just look for an area that has better loot at the time. Most of the time when I am mining and the place starts up with low hit rate or unusually small claims or both, it remains that way for the entire run, or at the very least for most of it. In that latter case, the flood of claims near the end of the mining run is almost never good enough to save me from a loss too big to cover with markup. On the other hand, going someplace else as soon as it becomes apparent local loot is passed out lying in the ditch somewhere does not have much of a downside. But the change of scenery ended up saving lots of my mining runs in the past. Sometimes it is not enough though. There are times when the loot is dead regardless of where you go, either only for certain individuals or sometimes seemingly for everybody. My run today was such a case. Shit returned anywhere I went. Although it might be just that I am still on a downswing, or it is not the best of times to use level 5 amplifiers right now. Sometimes the unamped mining gives better returns than amped mining. Sometimes certain amplifier works well for a period of time before it starts robbing you blind. A lot of weird stuff can happen in Entropia Universe. Some days you'll think you have it all figured out, and then all of a sudden Luteus turns around and rams his 42-inch battering ram when the sun does not shine. That brings me to one of the last few things I wanted to say today. It is good to be patient and plan stuff out in this game. However, it is also important to adapt those plans to the changing circumstances and take breaks whenever the threat of a burnout starts looming overhead. When I am playing smart and taking my time, I can usually stretch a deposit over a long period of time. I only screw it all up when I start feeling burned out. Then I break and start doing random crap that is fun for a while until I run out of ped or get bored even with that and take a break. My problem though is not that I did not know this for well over a decade now, but that I often do not act on that knowledge. Anyway, now that I have some pets to play with, I will do few more mining runs to see if it is a good idea or not. They will be unamped mining runs only, and if the loot is bad, I will either fly over to Cyrene for some peonies, go to Arcadia for small mobs, or fly back to Entropia for more sweating. It is hard to say where I will end up and what I will end up doing. 2 days ago I thought I will keep on sweating for a few more months before I start doing something else again. To be honest, it is possible and even likely that I will just go back to sweating after a few more mining runs, or that I will try to mix up sweating with some explosive projectiles 1 blueprint crafting. I could sweat during the day and then craft while I sleep. Entropia is usually decent in terms of returns on that one particular blueprint. However, I do not know whether that changed with the latest VU or not. I hope not, but I will not know unless I try it. Now that I think on it some more, I might just end up flying over there as soon as I am done editing and uploading this video. Entropia is not all that bad for mining either. I might try those few unamped mining runs over there instead of staying here on Calypso. Whatever the case, today's mining run ended in a roughly 105 ped loss. At least I managed to complete that daily mission and hopefully I will get some of that money back on the follow-up runs. Ah yes, I forgot to mention that I did deposit a little today. Also, the new Federation's DLC for Stellaris gets released on March 17th. So I might as well go back to the activities in Entropia that can be done mostly or completely AFK. I am probably going to buy that DLC and play Stellaris once again. A new patch that improves performance should be dropping around the same time as the DLC. I really hope it will bring significant improvements to the late game performance. Stellaris currently slows down to a crawl after the first 100 or so years, even on smaller maps, when there are actual non-player empires on the map. The only thing that seems to alleviate that problem is starting the game with no regular empires and just play against the primitives, fallen empires, and the endgame crisis. Either way, thank you for watching and I wish you all a nice day. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed this video or found it informative. And subscribe to the channel provided you have not done so already. Thank you.